The feminist movement was fighting for equal opportunity for women in education and the workforce. The sexual revolution was fighting for all sorts of sexual freedoms. Cosmo, we pretended that this sexual revolution was a freedom for women. It actually was not. It was actually kind of a slavery, but we pretended it was freedom for women. And over time, as the sexual revolution and the women's movement got identified closer and closer together, a lot of women began to buy into that illusion. The way the government conned women to work for equal rights so they can get double the tax is ironic. Actually, men have been labeled as a misogynist for saying exactly the same thing. This is where we are. It's sick how our society lied to women for decades to the point many cannot face reality anymore. Women's rights, but we can't define what a woman is. But also men can be women and no uterus, no opinion, but also men can get pregnant. Men are oppressing us, but also it's okay if biological men take over our spaces and our sports. Women are so over-sexualized in this culture, but it's empowering if women are the ones sexualizing themselves. Are you guys quite done yet? Are you okay? That just about sums it up. This is my friend Brianna Robinson. You should absolutely go follow her. She's fabulous. It's incredibly hypocritical as everything is. Modern-day feminism is not consistent in the slightest. Somebody commented and said, high empathy and low IQ generally correlate with feelings over facts. I mean, that's the basis of modern-day feminism. She spoke for all of us, men or women, and that are you okay? Did everything, period. Now this one is for my ladies. Let's get into it. After I graduated with my master's, this woman that I used to work with, you know who you are, she pulled me aside. She said, Sam, you're a pretty girl. When are you going to settle down and get married? I laughed and I said, probably after I get my LCSW. She looked at me dead in my eye and said, shut the door. And so I did. She said, now look around, Sam. Look at the women my age. Look at the women who prioritize their career over family, and now they're lonely. All they have is their career, searching for meaning in vacations and brunches. And I saw it with my own eyes. It wasn't what he wanted for myself. She said what matters to her most now is her husband, her kids, and her grandbabies. Let that wash your legacy, y'all. And that changed everything for me. So I say all that to say this, ladies. Stop buying the lease of culture. Family is ministry. It's your first ministry. We weren't created to fight being helpmates. That's our divine purpose. We were created to walk in it with power. Don't lose yourself trying to chase a version of success that leaves you empty. God's way still works. Rare gem alert. Because 99% of women ain't hearing this. They're too busy blowing the feminism horn like it's a damn anthem. I don't need no man. Career first, babies later, maybe never. Meanwhile, they hit 38 with a degree, Tittle, and brunch pics. But no peace, no legacy, just echo chambers and emptiness. Most won't admit it till it's too late. She gets up and she says, Patrick, this is very hard for me to say this, and let me tell you why it's very hard. I said, what's that? She says, ever since in high school, I wanted to prove to men that I can bet them. So when I graduated high school and college, I opened up my salon. We do very well. I've made millions of dollars. My people on my work, that work at the salon, they do very well for themselves. I drive a nice car, I have a nice house, I have money, I have millions. I don't worry about any of that stuff. You know what decision he made last night? I said, what's that? She says, I want a husband. I no longer want to compete with men. I need them. And I'm like, what? She's saying this in front of 2,000 people with her sister sitting right next to her. Wow. And now she's getting emotional. How many 65-year-old women do we have to hear saying that I marched with the feminist movement and I bought into the fact that men are the enemy? I've never been married. I'm alone and I'm miserable, and I wish I would have never bought into that. Philosophy. Stifler asked everyone to rate their looks. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 like a 6. I was going to say like a 7, maybe 8. I give myself like 6, 6.9 on a good day. Okay, so but 10-10, really a bit of hubris, a little bit, don't you think? I mean, it's confident, not confident. Yeah, exactly. Oh, If you view yourself as a 10, then surely you must deserve a 10. So, if you have a bunch of women who think they're 10, one of the problems in the dating marketplace is people don't have a reasonable self-assessment of their own attractiveness, and thus their standards are they're not going to be able to secure the type of partner that they're going after if they think they're a 10. No offense. Guy's partner, I disagree, I'm getting death stares. There's a very fine line between delusional and confidence, and everyone thinking they are a solid 10 is definitely delusional on so many levels. Nobody can be perfect. But here is the modern woman thinking she is perfect at and in everything. This is what feminism has come to. No accountability, only delusions. We all know what these exact women have to complain once they turn 50. Music. They don't miss you when you're gone. They miss you when you move on. And they hit 40 alone. Why is it that all you ladies who dislike arrogance and like humbleness want a life that is so extra and lavish? You want six-figure man? You want a high-value man and doing all this stuff? Why is it that everyone pretends like they hate arrogance, but then their standards are like, if we're being very honest, there's about, 10 of you here? Maybe 2 or 3 of you at best. You'll get with a guy who makes 6 figures or more because it's such a small percentage. By the numbers, it's probably impossible for all of you to get that. So there is a bit of like an arrogance to that where it's like, if you love humbleness so much, why don't you live a humble life? What's wrong with getting with a regular dude who's got a 401k? He makes 40k a year. Maybe he's home at the end of the day. He takes care of the bills. You guys got a nice little house in the suburbs. Why is that not enough? I don't understand why. There's all this talk about like, would I let my high-value man? I'm going to be honest with y'all. Most of y'all not going to get one. And that's not me trying to be mean. It's like the standards and entitlements are crazy. What makes a normal chick feel so deserving and entitled to a rich guy? Most of these women seem to have nothing of moral value. Life is about family and children. As long as you've got a comfortable home with heat and a fridge of food, that should be enough. But who's going to tell this to modern women? Why dating in the modern world sucks? There's a few reasons for this. Obviously, dating apps and social media, women have more choice than ever. And unfortunately for some men, what's happening in the dating app data shows this. You've basically got 80% of the women chasing after the top 10% of men. It's why women always complain, this guy cheated on me. He did this and that. It's because all of the women are chasing after that top 10% of men. But for me to dive deeper, the real issue with modern dating is women expect men to be traditional men. They want men to be strong and masculine and make money and competent and take you on a date and pay for the date and be chivalrous and act like a gentleman. Women want traditional men. However, if you look at the majority of women and these women that want those traits in men, they are not traditional anymore. So women want men to be traditional while they are not traditional. Women are not as feminine as they used to be. Women are very, very masculine in the modern world, and if they seriously date or marry a gentleman who is a provider, they will most likely sleep around on him with the chads and blame the gentleman, saying it's his fault. There is no accountability for women anymore. Secular or religious, it doesn't matter to them due to feminism. You're talking about equality, equaling respect. We can be equal and very, very different. You can be equal with completely different things. A woman can have equal respect to a man if she is very good at being a woman, and a man gets respect for being very good at being a man. When a woman decides she wants to act like a man, or a man wants to act like a woman, that's where all gets up. And women are good at different things. There's nothing wrong with accepting that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm a woman. I'm good at X, he's a man. He's good at Y. Then we work together as a team. We're talking about relationships. I don't actually need you. There's 2 jobs and there's 2 jobs. Why do you need a man in a relationship? And these are the stuff that I need in a man. But it's like at the end of the day, it's not like I completely need you. But the whole point is, if the lights went out tomorrow, you would be the man. Why do we have that outcome? I'm saying, if the lights went out tomorrow, you would need someone to protect you. You would, of course. Equality doesn't mean sameness. It means mutual respect for what each brings to the table. A man being great at being a man, a woman being great at being a woman. That's balance. Trying to blur that into one mashed-up identity messes everything up. We complement each other, not compete in the same lane. Different trolls, same value. That's real equality, but that's all against modern feminism, sadly. Music, Gloria Steinem said, if you don't go out to work, you betray the movement of feminism. You betray the women's rights movement. Babies will be fine, don't worry about them. Put them into daycare. Give them to a babysitter. You need to go out to work. You need to be soldiers in this war that we're waging, and women just soaked it up. Meanwhile, Gloria Steinem never had children, so she could say that message was very destructive. So what we know is that attachment disorders are past due,